On the morning of February 7, 2004, the University of Massachusetts received a call from one of its students saying she'd be absent for a few days due to a death in the family. That student was Maura Murray, 21 years old, bright, beautiful, and with a promising future in nursing. But the truth was chilling. There had been no death in her family. Maura had lied.
She took off. She had a reason. It wasn't the reason that she told everybody. There's no family emergency. There wasn't anything like that. There's something going on with her that caused her to leave. And again, it could have absolutely no connection to what happened to her. Or maybe it does, but we don't know.
But why would Maura Murray lie?
She left campus in her black satin sedan, headed somewhere unknown. Maura left no goodbye note. She told neither her, friends, nor her family what she was really planning. Even the contents of her car raised eyebrows: an open bottle of wine, a few personal items, and no real clue to her destination or intentions. Was she staging her own disappearance, or was she running from something or someone?
It is a real mystery. 1 minute she's here, 1 minute she's not, and there's just so many theories.
Maura Murray was no ordinary girl. She was intelligent, ambitious, a nursing student at the University of Massachusetts, and a former graduate of West Point. She was an outstanding athlete, and her family was always proud of her. But what many people don't know is that behind this seemingly calm demeanor, disturbing cracks began to appear. Days before her disappearance, she was caught using a stolen credit card, was involved in a mysterious incident at work, collapsed after a mysterious phone call, and appeared to be acting excessively stressed. Was she having a mental breakdown, or were there more serious issues lurking?
Authorities say Maura Murray was struggling with some personal issues the week before she left.
The Thursday prior to her car accident, she had a phone conversation with a family member, which, for whatever reason, was very upsetting to Maura, to the point where her supervisor at work relieved her of duty and walked her to her dorm room just to make sure everything was okay.
On February 9, 2004, Maura left her college dorm, got into her black satin, and drove north toward New Hampshire. She told no one where she was going. Before leaving, she called at some hotels in the White Mountains and looked for off-road routes. She carried bottles of alcohol, maps, and some clothes. But why all this mystery? And why did she leave her life behind without explanation? Around 7 p.m., the accident occurred. Maura's car was found on the side of a snow-covered rural road. There were no apparent injuries, but she wasn't.
In the days leading up to her disappearance, Maura Murray's behavior became increasingly erratic. She emailed her professors at UMass, informing them of a death in the family, an event that, according to her family, never occurred. Then she packed her belongings neatly in her dorm room, including most of her personal items, and even took down decorations. This gave the impression that she might be leaving for good. She withdrew $280 from her bank account, bought alcohol, and searched online for directions to places in Vermont and New Hampshire, and eventually crashed it on Route 112. Witnesses recall seeing her seemingly uninjured, politely refusing help, and then she vanished. Witnesses claimed to have seen a person walking quickly away from the scene of the accident. Others reported seeing strange vehicles in the area at the same time. The delay in police in starting their search, and the failure of tracking dogs to find any trace of the vehicle within 30 meters of the vehicle heightened suspicions. Maura's family, led by her father, Fred Murray, have never ceased to demand the truth. Fred has repeatedly spoken out against police negligence, accusing them of concealing critical information at the beginning of the investigation.
It wasn't until Wednesday Maura Murray became a missing person. A comprehensive search began. 2 days too late, says Fred Murray.
I want to know what happened in the first 36 hours. I want to know what the state police officer at the scene did.
An adult has the ability and the legal right to go where they want and do as they please, as long as they don't break the law. And so you can't jump to the conclusion that they've been the victim of foul play. Initially, this appeared to be an automobile accident.
Here, the internet came into play. Forum groups began their own investigations, some uncovering new leads, others spreading misinformation that compounded the mystery. It became difficult to distinguish between who was helping, and who was misleading.
We're averaging about 2,000 or 3,000 a week.
Visits?
On the website. There were times when we would have almost 50,000 in a day.
Helena Dwyer Murray is Maura's aunt and manager of the Maura Murray Facebook page and website. She also ran a forum, but shut it down.
People start bickering, and it's very difficult to read it even if you're not participating in it. You know, they've said some horrible things about me, about Fred, about everybody. It can get very nasty, but on the opposite side, you've got some people who have just been wonderful, have followed her from the beginning.
More than 2 decades have passed since Maura Murray disappeared, and her case remains one of America's most enigmatic mysteries. It has become a staple of documentaries, podcasts, and internet forums. Despite all this attention, the most important question remains unanswered. Where is Maura?
Asterisk.
Despite new searches and sporadic announcements of promising leads, no real progress has been made. For her family, each new year brings more suffering. For the public, the story has become a never-ending, collective mystery. We have reached the end of our story. See you in another video.